and welcome to Abstract Essay, where the essay shape thoughts find out and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is a nurse practitioner, board certified addiction specialist, and healthcare entrepreneur, as well as a published author and the author of the book The Recovery Tool Belt, none other than Mr. Trent Carter.
Daniel, thank you so much for having me on, sir. It's a pleasure.
Welcome, Mr. Trent on Abstract Essay. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, you already gave a great introduction. So, Trent Carter, board certified nurse practitioner, and I'm board certified in addiction medicine as well. I recently put out the Recovery Tool Belt a few months ago, which I'm very proud of. I'm in the state of New Mexico, and I'm the founder of Renew Health, which is it's a network of clinics. It's a full system, actually. We do a lot for outpatient addiction recovery, substance abuse, mental health here in the state of New Mexico.
And Mr. Trent, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you. So today let's talk about your debut book. And Toolbelt is such a powerful and accessible metaphor. What was the moment or insight that made you realize this was a perfect framework for talking about recovery?
I really wanted to take my experience, what I had seen work, what I saw not work over and over and over, hundreds and thousands of times from my clinical experience here at Renew Health. And I wanted to put it all in a practical guide that's, relatable to real world application. And not only that, but I wanted to be able to reach beyond the boundaries of New Mexico. Currently, we're only operating within the state of New Mexico. And so I wrote this book in such a way that no matter where you're located, look, you could be on the other side of the world. It really doesn't matter. Definitely anywhere within the US, anything in this book is going to be applicable to you. And you can apply all the different tools that are in there to help try to change your life.
Yes, definitely. And Mr. Trent, beyond the obvious, how does the tool or toolbox philosophy fundamentally change a person's mindset from one of deprivation to one of the empowerment?
I love that you said empowerment. That's a word that I use a lot. That's really what this book is about, empowerment and taking action. Look, we don't get anything just by reading a book if we don't actually implement, take the action. So the book is all about empowering the individual to, in fact, do that. So I don't know exactly how many tools are in the book, quite a bit. I don't know, 40, 50. And if somebody takes one tool out of that, it could potentially change their life, or they could take dozens out of it and they could really change their life, if not save their life. And that's the reason that I put it that way. It's not so much a philosophy or a step by step guide. Again, it was intentional to not be written that way. It was more, hey, let me read through this. Let me find what may work for me, implement these things. And maybe someone will come back to the book and implement a few more things after they start to see that, hey, this is working.
Mm, definitely. And in your view, Mr. Trent, what is the most common broken tool? A well intentioned but ineffective strategy that people bring into early recovery, and what do you have them replace it with?
Great question. There's so much judgment and stigma that's often associated with addiction and substance abuse and recovery and the types of treatment and everything that's just related to that. So I think that I would like to let people know that first of all, there is help out there. There's a lot of people that want to help you. There's a lot of resources out there, and you're a very bold and brave and strong person to take that first step. Really, the first step is acknowledging that something is wrong. Hey, this has gotten out of hand, right? I
Hmm.
no longer am in control. I don't like the way that I'm acting, or I don't like the way that I feel, or I don't like the things that I'm doing or not doing. So, just having that self realization is really going to be that first step. But then you've got to act on it. You've got to take those next steps. And that could be as simple as coming and seeing someone like me, going into a clinic such as Renew Health, or even reading a book just like the Recovery Tool Belt.
Empowering answer. Mr. Trend, and your book title mention both achieving and sustaining. How does the total belt itself evolve and get, well, restuck as someone moves from the initial phase in a long-term recovery?
Yeah. So achieving is just the first step, right? It's great if we're able to achieve 3 weeks of abstinence or sobriety, or 3 months, or even 3 years. That's fantastic. And it's a lot to be proud of. But the goal after doing that is to sustain that, right? So after you
Hmm.
achieve it, you want to sustain it. And so it's implementing things that are going to work in your world. It's not following someone else's step by step program or process that maybe worked for them, but is really not applicable to you. It does me no good to put this whole strategy in someone's lap and it just simply won't work for them for whatever reason, because of lack of support system or the hours that they work, or if they have a special needs child, something along those lines. So it's going to be very, very important to tailor the treatment, to tailor the process to that individual.
Mr. Trent, if you had to identify just three tools as the hammer, wrench, and screwdriver, the absolute essential for any beginner's tool belt, what would they be and why?
So it's something that I've coined the three pillars of change, and we've already kind of touched on that, but I'll go ahead and mention again since you did mention three specifically here. And it's going to be awareness, implementation, right, to have the change. And so, first and foremost, I'll just start. You got to have the awareness of the problem, like we already touched on. So, having the knowledge that, hey, this has gotten out of hand. This is no longer where I want to be. I don't like the way that I'm feeling. I don't like the things that I'm doing. So, it's having awareness that something is going on. Okay. Next, acquiring knowledge. So, reading a book such as the Recovery Tool Belt, finding what resources are out there and available in the community, in the state. There's so much out there. There's federal programs that can assist. There's state programs. There's community level. There's city level, county level programs. So, one, understanding the problem that, hey, this is something that I want to change. Two, acquiring knowledge on what's available out there in this situation. But knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power, meaning if you've, let's say, read this book and now you've got a whole bunch of new tools that you can use, but you don't actually implement anything, you're not going to get any change. And I would argue that it's even worse because now you've got these tools, you've got this knowledge, yet you don't implement it. So that's going to be the third pillar there in change is implementation. It's taking action. So having awareness, taking the steps to increase your knowledge. And then, third and most important, is in fact going to be implementation, taking action, taking those next steps.
Implementation is the hardest thing to do. People, what is the tool dealing with the intense, in the moment craving that is counterintuitive or lesser known but incredibly effective?
I'm a huge fan, so I'm a nurse practitioner. I do believe in science. I do believe in medication, and while the medication may not be appropriate for everyone, and there's a lot of people that go through this journey without ever starting medication assisted treatment, and they have very successful stories. Statistically, the numbers are stacked against you. So I'm a huge fan of someone at least entertaining the thought of furthering their knowledge, getting more educated on it, speaking with a licensed medical provider that is an expert in substance abuse, and talking about medication assisted treatment. Whatever it may be, it could be for alcohol, it could be for stimulants, even though there's nothing that's FDA approved, it would be off label. I'm here to tell you they work very, very well. Or opioid abuse. These medications work extremely well. They can help block the cravings, they can help with withdrawal, they can help you get your mind in a place where you can now work on setting a new foundation, putting new routines, putting new habits, putting new people, new support system in place to where you're setting yourself up for success for long-term sobriety, and then potentially come off of those medications and you no longer need them. It can be a stepping stool.
Hmm. Stepping stone for sure. Mr. Trent, many people struggle with the underlying drivers of addiction, like boredom, anxiety, or trauma. What are the specific tools in your book for digging out the tools or the roots rather than just pruning the branches.
I like to say, have something that holds you accountable. And it could be a job. That's a fantastic thing. I think that we need to work if we're capable. So having a job, because then somebody's relying on you, right? It's holding you accountable. Your children will hold you accountable. If neither one of those are an option, then okay, you could volunteer at something. Find something that holds you accountable. Excuse me, and hold you accountable, because now you're going to fill that time in. You're not going to sit around staring at a blank wall. I'm a huge fan of keeping yourself busy. So, coming up with the game plan, having a routine that's daily and weekly with a method to evaluate to see how we did as well. There's nothing wrong with scheduling this out from the moment you're going to wake up throughout your day. And that's just going to set yourself up for success to follow through that where you don't have all this blank space, because then the mind starts wondering. You're sitting there, you're bored, your mind starts going back to what you're used to, which could be, substance abuse. So having a plan is going to help prevent failure.
Mr. Trent, let's talk about the tool of a play the tape forward. Why is this a simple cognitive exercise so powerful, and how do you guide people to use it effectively when their brain is telling them just to have one drink or hit?
Yes. So therapy, counseling, support groups, intensive outpatient programs, all of these things. I'm a huge fan of cognitive behavioral therapy.
Hmm.
If we can control our mind, we can control our actions, right? And we
Yes.
all have the capabilities of that. And it can take a lot of work, it can take a lot of time, it can take a lot of training. But when you do start to make that progress and you start to take back the reins and you regain that control instead of letting something else have control of us, not only is it gratifying and freeing, but then we can start to feel the potential of what we've always had. We can be the person that we want to be. We can get back in our children's lives or in our, brothers' lives. We can be the spouse we want to be. We can hold a job. We can finish school, whatever it may be. Purchase a home or purchase a vehicle for your family, whatever it may be that you've always wanted to do can be capable. But it all starts with learning how to control our mind. And it takes work, it takes action. So going into it, understanding, hey, this is not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick or immediate, but the potential payoff here is astronomical. And the risk reward, there's very little risk for the potential upside of reward is just through the roof.
Yes, definitely. So, on the personal journey and mindset, Mr. Trent, of all the tools in the belt, which one had the most difficult for you to personally master and integrate into your own life? And what did this process teach you?
I love that question. I don't know that I've actually been asked that question yet. So I'm very hard on myself. I, I I hold myself accountable, like what we were just talking about. I don't ask anybody to do anything that I don't do myself.
Hmm.
So I'm always pushing myself to be better, whatever that may be. If it's fitness, health and fitness is very important to me. I've got two young children. I want to be around for them. I want to be able to be out there and roughhouse with them or teach them sports or play or run and jump, whatever it may be. And for my wife as well. But for me personally, I want to feel good too. I'm always trying to learn more. I'm always trying to educate myself more. I'm very, very curious. I like to refer to it as a sponge, soak it all up. Even if it's a topic or a category or an industry that I know nothing about and really don't have a lot of interest, you can still learn something. There's nothing wrong with knowing a little bit about everything, right? Choose a couple things that you know a lot about, and then everything else know a little bit about, and you can talk to anybody in the room about anything. Makes yourself much more valuable, whether you're trying to find a partner in life or you're trying to get a job or just become friends with someone. So I think the most important thing you can do is work on yourself. And I've only listed a few things here, but I think that you will never, ever go wrong if you're investing in yourself, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, your education, financially, for your job opportunities, any of that. If you're working on yourself, you're just going to become a better version of you.
A better version of you, and for sure, you will be your legacy to the world. As Mr. Trent, as an author, board certified addiction specialist, as well as nurse practitioner, what are your short term and long term goals?
I'm sorry, what are my what goals?
What are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short term and long term goals. Sorry, man. I don't know if you want to cut the cough out.
No worries. No worries.
Short term and long term goals, I think, are very important. So, just like I mentioned earlier about having a daily and weekly routine, writing it down, if finding a way to evaluate that to where you can look back on it, I do the exact same thing for myself and my goals. I set short term, midterm, long term goals, and it's personal, it's financial, it's my professional side, my business side, the health side, the side that's going to be family oriented towards my wife and my kids as well. And again, I'm always trying to make a better version of me to provide for everyone around me, whether it's my patients, my employees, my friends, my children, my wife, always trying to find a way to be a better version of me so I can help build them up as well.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Trent, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Just get started. That's all
Hmm.
it is. You just got to start somewhere. Don't wait for the perfect time because it's never going to happen. It certainly did not happen for me ever in anything I've ever tried to do. There was never a perfect time, but you just get started and understand there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. Okay. It's very, very easy to be motivated when you're on the highs, when you're on those peaks. But when you
Hmm.
start getting down in those valleys, it's hard to be motivated. And this is where discipline comes in. And if you can be disciplined in all these different areas and these different things we've talked about, and even plenty of others that we haven't touched on, it makes it easier to have these rocks, this stronger foundation to where you can start climbing back up and get up to that peak again.
Yes, people. What a nice advice, Mr. Trent. Truly, truly empowering. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
But Daniel, I'm sorry, man. Would you mind repeating that one more time? I'm sorry.
No worries. Would you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a Grant Cardone fan, and he's
Mm-hmm.
intense. A lot of people don't like him. I love him. I think the book 10X is a great book no matter
Amazing.
who you are or where you are in
Yes.
life. It's basically going to make you set your goals higher. I've gifted that book many, many times. Um, I just finished the book Outliers, which is fantastic as well. Atomic Habits is a great book. And look, if you're anybody that's struggling, you want to learn more about substance abuse, whether yourself or you're a loved one or a friend or a boss and you've got an employee that's struggling, or if you don't fit into any of those categories, but you're seeing it on TV, you're seeing it in the community, you're hearing about it, I would strongly encourage the recovery tool belt. Even if you're a clinician, let's say you're in primary care and you don't see this real often, but every now and then you'll get a patient or two coming through and you just like to learn a little more, but have a book that's an easy read, an easy approach. It's not real clinically heavy, meaning like medical jargon. The recovery tool belt is going to be fantastic.
Definitely. And thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Trent. And if we could get every doctor, therapist, and addiction counselor to understand and teach one tool from your book, which one would you have the biggest ripple effect and why?
Honestly, it would be paired with destigmatization. We got to get rid of the judgment. We got to get rid of the stigma, the way that we look and talk and act towards these folks, and then medication assisted treatment. There's many, many things that can go in to this recovery journey, but I feel that one of the strongest foundations for the most people would be medication assisted treatment.
Mm, yes, definitely. And beyond from the substance itself, substances, how would you think people apply the recovery tool belt philosophy to other challenging areas of their lives like gambling, overeating, or dysfunctional relationships?
So there's so much in this book that you can apply outside of, I mean, you just listed a lot of behavioral addictions there. It would absolutely, I mean, every tool that's in this, for the most part, maybe not every tool, a lot of these tools that are in this book would apply to behavioral addictions like what you just listed. But honestly, I guess at its core foundation, it's a self help book. It's some kind of a guidebook, a self guidebook to implement change. So understanding that Well, I mean, implementing like the routines that we talked about, where I mentioned knowledge is potential power. It's not power; it's potential power. I go into a little greater depth in the book. I think that all of these things, goal setting, having a support system, all of these things are going to be in the book, and they'll apply to so many different areas in life, no matter which path you're walking, that it could really apply to all of those.
Yes, interesting, Mr. Trent. A tool is only useful if you remember to use it in a crisis. What are your strategies for helping people drill these tools into their muscle memory so they become automatic when they need it most?
So if you're a patient of mine or a patient of Renew Health, we're going to drill these things into you because we talk about them a lot. It may be every visit for some tools, and it may be, well, just when it's needed, maybe a little heavier up front, but then as we progress over the weeks and over the months, we just kind of go back to them as needed. But if you're someone that's not in New Mexico and you're not going to be a patient of ours and you're just reading the book, I even talk about in the beginning of the book, look, make it yours. There's actually a contract to self that someone would sign. It's essentially saying, hey, yes, I do agree and understand these things. I'm going to sign my name to agree to give this a chance. It's not for everybody, but I think that it can help folks out. And then as we move on past that, I encourage writing in the book, ear tag pages, rip pages out if you need to. I don't care. Highlight, make notes to yourself. That's the whole point of the book. It's your book. So that way you can go back and revisit that. Because if you don't implement these things, it's not going to work. And this really is an easy read. That was intentional. It was written that way. There's comedy, there's humor, there's patient stories and testimonies that are in there. Easy to get through. The chapters are not that long. So maybe somebody would have to go back and reread two or three times over the next year or two. That's fine. Do
Yes,
it because I think
yes.
you'll pick something up each time.
Definitely. Reread and reread and reread. Relapse is a common and often devastating fear. How does the tool belt model reframe a setback, not a total failure, but as a signal that a specific tool was missing, broken, or misapplied?
There's no such thing as failure as long as we can learn from it. And if we don't ever throw the towel in, if we don't give up. And I talk a lot about this with my patients that something major that can feel like a major failure, a major setback can happen. And we're always going to talk through it and find the positives in that and try to learn from the negatives in that. Okay, why did this happen? Leading up to that, what was different? Why did we go 3 weeks without using, whatever it may be? Let's use heroin in this case. But then all of a sudden we did when you felt like you were strong and in a good place. Why? And we'll talk through that and start to pick it apart and see what piece of that puzzle didn't fit. And so then we'll implement a plan, right? A
Mm.
failure to plan is a plan for failure. I love that quote. A failure to plan is a plan for failure. So now, using that information when it didn't go the way that we would have liked it to, we'll see what we can do different. We'll have a plan next time to where hopefully different decisions can be made.
Interesting, Mr. Trent. In the loved ones, or for the loved ones of a person in recovery, what is one tool they can put in their own belt to support the journey without enabling or burning themselves out?
I think one of the single most important things is going to be education. Again, educate yourself, learn about this disease process, learn about what is going on in your loved one's mind and why they're taking some of these actions that seem so, potentially uncharacteristic for them. I think another very important thing is you've got to take care of yourself. So many people get caught up in being a caregiver that they neglect their own health. And look, you can't provide for someone else if you're not healthy, if you're not physically capable to, if you're not mentally stable enough to. So you've got to take care of yourself. But then set boundaries. You've got to set healthy boundaries. You can still help someone out while not enabling them by setting these healthy boundaries and letting them know, hey, I'm here for you. I love you. I want to support you. I am going to help you through XYZ, but it's not going to go beyond this. This is going to be the firm stop line here. Because beyond this, I feel that I'm being taken advantage of or I'm potentially enabling you.
Healthy boundaries indeed. And Mr. Trent, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season. I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in its fourth season, as well as love letters, movie 101, and music 101, science 101, sex 101 in second season, and my baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Trent, ultimately, what is the final, most profound goal? Is it simply a line of sobriety, or is it about becoming a master of craftsman or one owns life?
Yeah, one owns life.
Mm.
Sobriety is great, but if there's not quality of life there with it as well, then what did we do it for? So, and I'm not trying to encourage someone to not chase sobriety or abstinence. Trust me, that's exactly what I want. But life can be so fulfilling. So, on top of putting down the bottle or no longer using methamphetamine or whatever it may be, I think we should also lead to live a very fulfilling, exciting, productive, giving life on top of that. And again, the book, you can get that, but there's so many other resources that have nothing to do with me or the book that are out there. There's a lot of great podcasts, shows, books, articles, blogs, you name it, that someone can learn from.
Yes, definitely. And Mr. Trent Carter, thank you so much for sharing your tool belt to the world. So,
Thank
can
you,
you
Daniel.
please invite our listeners to support your debut book, your business, or any projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, please. So I do have a website if someone wanted to keep up with what we're doing. It's imtrentcarter.com. The clinic, Renew Health, it's renewhealth.com. But we're also on social media at either I'm Trent Carter or at Renew Health. It's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. We're posting daily. We put a lot of good content out there. It's all in the name of trying to help someone out, no matter what it is that you may be struggling with. And again, guys, if you fall into any of these categories, I'd strongly encourage checking the book out.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Trent Carter because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering tool belt will rise. So, Mr. Trent, thank you so much for your time.
Daniel, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Monica people, see you